guess it was like two things, kind of alongside one another. On like one hand, there was my own experience in my career, I guess. And then alongside was my personal experience of having a baby. So at work, I was a labor and delivery nurse, and I loved it when I began. I really enjoyed being present with people at the beginning, um, and sometimes at the end. And I found it really fulfilling. I was also present for a lot of really difficult births, and that was an incredible experience. It was a real honor to be part of those families' experiences, but I felt like I helicoptered in and helicoptered out of this really transformative moment, and I wanted to be able to support people afterwards. And that was kind of percolating in the back of my mind. The pandemic hit. We became really stretched with nurses, and I was less and less able to provide the kind of labor and birth support that I wanted to. And I started losing my love for working in that system. And during the pandemic, my partner and I joined a couple of queer support groups. Shout out to Queer Conceptions, to help us figure out how to get pregnant and what it would mean to have like a known donor. And yeah, we started interviewing clinics. That was quite a process. Like, I had already understood for a long time that having a baby for us wouldn't be straightforward, but we were lucky in a sense that we did have a known donor, and everything worked out like faster than we expected, which was strange and stressful because we were really ready for like a long process. And I know that that's what a lot of people have. They have a really long process. Then I had the baby. And that was really difficult too. And I went into it with all this knowledge and understanding of like what it could be like. And I had never imagined what happened to me. So I had a really difficult postpartum. I think that we need to change the way that we do birth. And I want to talk to people about their difficult birth experiences and help them sort of make sense of it. And I want to talk to people on their fertility journey, like all through it, like even when it's just percolating in the back of their mind, like a little thought or a seed. And yeah. So I started while I was on my parental leave learning about psychotherapy, and that's where I'm heading now. In terms of challenges I face starting my own business, I would say imposter syndrome is like the biggest challenge. I think that it's really easy to discount my own skills. And I was talking to folks in my like friend circle about being a counselor and saying like, I'm not qualified. I don't know how to do this. And most of them were kind of like, what are you talking about? You've been doing this your whole life. I was a sexual health counselor. I help people not get pregnant. I help people stop being pregnant. I taught them how to get pregnant. And throughout all of that, like, you support people's emotions and feelings as they move through the process. So I'm still working on the imposter syndrome. And I'm also appreciating it in part because I think it's really pushing me to learn more and take courses and grow into supporting people in their own fertility journeys. In terms of increasing visibility on socials, I really haven't. And my practice is very small as a result. I have not had the, I guess, mental energy, actual time to do it yet. But this is the start. So I'm hoping to start doing more on social media. But I also know that it's really hard and takes a lot of time and energy and effort. And I am working another job. So it's just a lot to balance. And yeah, parenting is hard and motherhood is a scam. Um, that's my feeling about fitting it all in. And so social media has been on the back burner while I sort out other more urgent life things. What inspired me to work in obstetrics? Ooh, I always thought I'd work in the start of life or the end of life. And maybe I'll still work with people at the end of life, like an old, long life at some point. Um, and I think that those moments in particular appealed to me because there's a lot of agency in how people can move through birth or death if like policies and healthcare providers and everybody would get out of the way. Um, there's a lot of um, room to do it in a way that feels right for you and your family. And I think I've seen some really good deaths and I've seen some really bad ones. And they kind of hit the same themes as the births. And a lot of it is about voice and support. Yeah, that is, I guess, why I got into obstetrics at the beginning, because I think that people can really do it the way they want to if they're supported too. And I think that's an incredible thing. How do I keep the client at the center of my care? I think one of the things that I really like about nursing, at least in the hospital, and maybe in other parts of my life as well, um, is that you get really focused. There's such a singular focus to caring for somebody in labor or listening to them in a one on one. I kind of lose sight of everything else and it's almost relaxing. It's kind of weird, but like when you would go in for a shift, your phone goes in your pocket and like you don't really think about it because there's somebody in front of you who needs you in some way, even if that way is just to like stand back and get out of the way. um, but I do really love that about nursing. And I think that it's a very, I guess, keeping the client at the center comes easy when you're really present in the moment. And I think that that is something I practice being present. Yeah.